Hello, and welcome to another Looking at Stuff video. So what are we going to be looking at today? What stuff? It's a notebook. Surprise. 100 pages. Notebook. Cahiers Spiral. That means it's a spiral notebook. So what's in the notebook? That's what matters, right? Well, it is memories. So what this actually is when I was, 7 years old, we had amassed about, 45 VHS tapes with content recorded off television, cartoons, because I was 7 and I had a single mom, and so television was a very good way to keep me busy. And so I watched lots and lots of it. But this was back when cartoons only came on Saturday mornings. But if you taped them on the magic of home video, VHS, cassette tape, you could have Saturday morning every morning. So that's what we did. And it got to the point where, like many kids, I had my favorites that I wanted to watch. And it wasn't always easy to find them anymore, especially when you start mixing up the boxes and stuff. So my mother went through all the tapes and cataloged what was on every one of them. And this is it. This is the catalog. It still lives. This catalog is 21 years old now. Catalog, this notebook. So let's see. Did I say 21? I meant 31. Oops. 31 years old. So, alright. Very first tape. Number 1. Dink the Little Dinosaur. This was a cartoon about a group of dinosaur friends. It was kind of like The Land Before Time, but kind of the sitcom version. It wasn't sad and deep and meaningful. It was just wacky antics. Every episode, some conflict would occur, and by the end of the episode, they would resolve it. And there was this old turtle, and his name was Krusty, and he would always show up and give them some sage advice at the end, because back then all cartoons had to give you some sort of advice in the episode, even if everything that happened in the episode was stupid and could in no way relate to your life. It's still somehow tied into a message. And so they usually had something like an old turtle, or in the case of Dungeons and Dragons, it was like just an old guy named Dungeon Master. And or G.I. Joe, like Sergeant Slaughter would show up and tell you how it all meant something. Anyway, that was the Dink. Captain N, the Game Master. That was a Nintendo marketing ploy, but it was pretty entertaining. This guy named Kevin, who becomes Captain N, because think lightning strikes his home, and the lightning causes him to be absorbed into his Nintendo through the television. And when he gets on the other side of the television, he's in Nintendo land, but he still has his zapper and his gamepad. And with the gamepad, he can like pause and do super jumps and stuff, so that he has a real advantage over everyone there. And of course, he has the zapper, so he can zap people. Not people, monsters. And Mega Man's there. Kid Icarus, Simon Belmont, and Princess Lana, who's actually, I don't think, from any actual game. She's just there to be his love interest. In some later seasons, Game Boy shows up as like an actual person of sorts. And the villains are Mother Brain from Metroid. She's the main villain. King Hippo from Punch-Out, and the Eggplant Wizard from Kid Icarus. Anyway, Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters cartoon show was really great. It's probably to my way of thinking, the greatest cartoon ever made. If you watch it today, there's a lot in there that no kid would ever get. J. Michael Straczynski wrote some of that. Okay. Tape 2, Scooby-Doo. Every kid loves Scooby-Doo. Dink again, Captain Beetlejuice. Strangely enough, there was a Beetlejuice cartoon. It was super weird. The art style was like nothing else, really. It's hard to explain. It's like goth scrapbooking meets Ren and Stimpy. Oh, The Land Before Time. I actually never liked that movie. Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I used to love them when I was like 4 or 5. I had all the action figures, and at this point, my mother was actually writing the names of the episodes. So this was Enter the Fly. That's the one where they introduced Dr. Baxter, the human fly. Dink, Captain Mario Bros. Garfield. Tape 4. Naturally, Lethal Weapon, Last Crusade, and Bloodsport. Now on this tape, I can tell you that's the only one I watched. Bloodsport. That movie's really good. It's Van Damme, and he's playing Frank Duke, and he has to go to the Kumite to win honor for his sensei, who is the father of some kid he used to beat up or something. I don't know. It's been a while, but I used to love the movie. It's got an ogre from Revenge of the Nerds in it. Donald Gibb, I think his name is. Okay, so you'll notice these are all crossed out. At Brave Star. Brave Star was so good. No one even talks about Brave Star anymore. But that was this cartoon about a Native American marshal on the planet New Texas, and there are all these aliens that are bad, and he has a horse that talks, and he can use like the strength of a bear, the eyes of an eagle. I am part Mi'kmaq, so it was nice to have a Native American hero in these Transformers. Laser Tag Academy. Now there's a cartoon no one ever talks about, for good reason. Kissy Fur is another one. Very obscure stuff. But it's gone. And the reason it's gone is because when I turned 15 or so, and I started to find horror movies and softcore and stuff coming on at night. I would just tape over this stuff, thinking I'll never want this kid stuff again. So if you are 15 and you find yourself thinking that, you're wrong. You will definitely prefer Laser Tag Academy to the erotic adventures of Robin Hood or whatever's on TV. That seems good to your 15-year-old brain. Or Conan O'Brien. I used to tape Conan O'Brien and Saturday Night Live over this stuff too. That's a lot of dink. Not sure what the X is supposed to mean. I assume this is all gone. So I actually did manage to preserve a fair number of these tapes, and I recently digitized them. So a lot of this is saved. Visionaries, I often will say, couldn't get it in English where I grew up. It says Mytor, short French cartoon. I don't remember. She-Ra, Bear Mountain. I remember this tape, but I don't really remember what this stuff is. Lady Lovely Locks. It's another obscure one. Little Wizards. My Pet Monster. I was in a shop just last weekend, a toy store in Arkansas called T-Rex, and they had a large My Pet Monster plush. I think they were asking like $200 for it, but I had the small one. Apparently there was a large one. The Little Clowns. That cartoon was pretty awful. Scooby-Doo, Pete's Dragon. Another movie that kids were supposed to love that I actually hated. I liked parts of it, but it was a very brown movie. Very brown and unpleasant. Silverhawks. That's another cartoon I never hear anyone talk about. Dumbo. La Fantôme. I gathered this was actually an English cartoon, but we only ever got it in French up there, so I always thought it was an actual French cartoon. Alice in Wonderland. I love that movie. Archie's. I'm not sure why it's plural here, but yes, there were Archie cartoons then. Alf. There was an Alf cartoon. It was pretty bad. Alf's whole family was in it. There were a lot of these weird aliens. Gem and the Holograms kind of had a resurgence of interest. And justly, it was actually a much more sophisticated show or cartoon than a lot of the others. Astro Boy. That used to be my favorite cartoon when I was super young. All gone. Jared's favorite is written here. I wonder what episode that was. It doesn't say. I'm gonna guess it was the one with Drool, the dog-faced goblin. Or maybe Mrs. Rogers' Neighborhood. Whoops. No. There's Mrs. Rogers' Neighborhood. Oh yeah, there was a Teen Wolf cartoon as well. Disney. No good. I assume that means the tape was corrupt. Chipmunks cartoon. Humphrey the Bear. I don't know what that is. strawberry shortcake. Oh gosh. This is all gone. Oh yeah, another thing that I would... Unfortunately, I didn't write what I taped over them with, but another thing I would tape these over with is, in my teen years, I got really interested in UFO documentaries on TLC, or like apocalyptic prophecies and all of that fringe stuff. So, if I had any of these tapes lying around, and suddenly it was Alien Invasion Week on TLC, boom, tape was gone. Unfortunately, Bongo the Bear. Yeah, there you go, alien stuff. So this tape was lost to alien stuff. Glow Friends. I actually had one of the glowworm plushes. Bionic 6. They had a really great line of figures. They were actually made of metal with some plastic pieces that were like clear plastic. So it gave them this cybernetic quality. It was really nice. Good commercials. I always liked looking back at old commercials. Centurions is another obscure one. It's like these three guys with mustaches, and they would, whenever there was like a villain that they had to detain or whatever, or fight, they would put their arms in the air and say, they had some sort of line they would say, I forget what it was, "Go Centurions go," or something. And then this spaceship that they were from would blast them with their Centurion power, which was like these robotic attachments on their body, and they could each like become a vehicle. So one of them was a boat, one was a jet, and the other was a motorcycle. So it was, water, air, and land. And I seem to recall there was a monkey on the spaceship. I don't know why. I might have it mixed up with the Bionic 6. One of those had a monkey. Well, I know Bionic 6 had a monkey. Her name was Tracy, but I think Centurions had a monkey too. So many of these cartoons had a monkey sidekick for some reason. The Fantôme. Fred Penner. Most of you watching this will not know who Fred Penner is. He was like a Canadian hippie version of Mr. Rogers, but instead of being in a neighborhood, he was out in the woods for no good reason. And people would just show up in the woods with him, and sometimes, puppets and stuff. And he would play music with them and talk about things. And he kind of looked a little satanic, something about his eyebrows and his goatee and everything, but I loved him when I was a kid. He was really cool. I still think he's cool. I think he may still be alive as well. Frosty the Snowman. Everyone loves that cartoon. Still watch it every year. Not on this tape, of course. So lots of Ghostbusters. These are still so good. The first 2 seasons, anyway. Dungeons and Dragons. The other greatest cartoon ever made. If you haven't seen it, it's worth watching still. Raggedy Ann and Andy. Yes, they had a cartoon, and it was bad. This is actually Return to Oz, the movie, with Fur Zabok. Kissy Fur, Dennis the Menace. Androids V2 and, oh yes, that's right, R2-D2 and C-3PO. got their own cartoon show in the late 80s, early 90s. It was bad, but apparently I had one episode. Okay, here I actually wrote what I taped over all of my Ghostbusters, My Little Pony, Astro Boy, and an episode of Potato Head Kids. Yes, Mr. Potato Head spawned a cartoon then called Potato Head Kids. And there's a reason why it's obscure. It was really bad. I don't really remember it, but I do remember disliking it considerably. Anyway, it's all gone because Seinfeld and Joe's apartment. Those singing cockroaches. They got me. And Dean Koontz's Intensity. This is the made-for-TV version of High Intensity from like 97. Dragon Warriors. I don't know. DuckTales, Captain Planet. Still have fond memories of Captain Planet, even though I think a lot of people don't like it. He was a funny hero because he was supposed to be like this all-powerful warrior for Earth, but then he would get like a spot of oil on him and die instantly. Okay, yeah. So, yes, there was an Ewoks cartoon as well. It was about as good as the Androids cartoon. Karate Kid cartoon, which was actually sometimes entertaining. Cops and Crooks. It was actually a decent show, but not that good. Teddy Ruxpin. Anyway, all got taped over for crap, brimstone, and nonsense. Brimstone was this show that was popular in the late 90s when somewhat supernatural stories, CW-style shows, started to become more popular. So it's like the same time as Charmed. And Brimstone was this guy who just got sent up from hell as a bounty hunter to capture other souls that escaped from hell. And there were supposed to be 150, so they were planning on at least 150 episodes, but it only made it one season. Nonsense. I used to tape, I'm not even going to go into it, but Dino Riders. That was one that I really wanted to like, because as a kid, dinosaurs, weird alien creatures, lasers, what's not to like? Well, bad writing. Bill and Ted had a cartoon show, which I found thoroughly confusing, and I didn't like it. Dragon Warriors again. I still don't remember that cartoon, really. I think it may have been an anime, and I'm not sure how I ended up with 2 episodes. But maybe someone taped it for me. Like a cousin. I had a cousin in Montreal who would tape stuff that I couldn't get. Tailspin. Spins. This was another show I couldn't get in my hometown. Somehow it ended up on here, so this was definitely taped for me. Anyway, it ended up getting taped over with some bull crap. This, however, did not. Roger Rabbit, When I Shrunk the Kids, which I did not like. Labyrinth, which I only liked in parts. Fred Penner, Mr. Dress-Up. Mr. Dress-Up was pretty much watched the Canadian Mr. Rogers. His big thing was, what everyone loved from Mr. Dressup was, after talking to Casey and Finnegan, those were his two puppets, he would go off to the side of his set, and there was a big red trunk, and it was full of costumes and stuff, and they could pull out costumes and like play make-believe games with it, and it was called the Tickle Trunk. Can't make this up. Super Mario, Ninja Turtles, Ninja Turtles. So this was when I wanted to help. So my mom let me actually write one line, and that's how it ended up. So I lost my writing privileges. Rude Dog and the Dweebs. That is another cartoon no one ever talks about. My favorite Martians. I don't even remember it, but it was a cartoon based off of the old sitcom. This is called New Ghostbusters. It's actually, so there was the real Ghostbusters that was based off the movies. But then there's this older cartoon called Ghostbusters that had nothing to do with the movies. And they were more, a lot more cartoony. And it was also pretty entertaining. And wouldn't you know it, they had a monkey sidekick. Actually a gorilla, but you know. Denver, the Last Dinosaur. Basically these guys who are totally not a ripoff of the Mystery Gang from Scooby-Doo have a van, and they're hippies, and they have a talking dinosaur, and they travel around and solve mysteries. There was a Casper cartoon, Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. Man, what the hell was that? All this cool stuff got taped over with the Jesus Christ Superstar. That is a good movie, though. Really good soundtrack. I still listen to it sometimes. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Lost. I watch it every year. I have that on DVD. There was a Gummy Bears cartoon. Yup. Ewoks again. Oh, they got the rights some more. Isn't that beautiful? But all gone because Planet of the Apes. I didn't have enough apes in the cartoons. That's when the real Ghostbusters jumped the shark. They decided they wanted to be more kid-friendly, so they turned it into Slimer and the Ghostbusters, and it was all about the crazy adventures of Slimer. And they introduced like new characters from around town, like a pizza chef and a mad scientist. Very stupid. So apparently I taped over Captain N with Jenny Jones thing. So this was what I was going to say earlier, and I decided I didn't want to go into it, but looks like past me has foiled my plans to avoid this. So Jenny Jones was this daytime talk show in the mid-90s, late 90s, and to drum up ratings, she would do, as all of them do, pretty sleazy episodes, but her big thing was episodes where she would get very extraordinarily busty women on, like women who had like ridiculous amounts of implants. And the episode would be called something like "My Breasts Are Too Big to Get a Date." And they would bring these women out, and they would be, bouncing around. And then the audience members would call out rude things to them. And they would say, "Y'all just haters," or whatever. And it was such trash. I mean, these people, I think the audience was just so despicable. Like, who cares if these people want to get implants to feel good about themselves or whatever? And of course I was sleazy for taping it because I just wanted to look at them. But I was 14, 15. I have grown as a person. So this tape included a recording of me in my Halloween costume when I was 5 years old. A robot costume. I won first place at school. And also a school concert. I taped over it. Hopefully not with Jenny Jones. Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs got taped over with Monty Python. Probably a good choice. Country western music. Yikes. Not that there's anything wrong with that, Dwight Yoakam's alright, I guess. Garfield Halloween Special and The Witch and the Goblins. Now, The Witch and the Goblins is a Halloween special that was aired on, I think, ABC or CBS once in, I think, 89 or 88, and never again has it been seen on television, never been released on VHS, never been released on DVD, but I still have it. Of course, it's on YouTube now. People have put it on YouTube, so other people like me, apparently. Fluppies. I think that was a Disney movie about these anthropomorphic dogs, and they have like keys that can open portals to other worlds. Very odd. Alien specials. Screw Cinderella and Bambi. Aliens. Got to educate yourself. And we're into movies. Once we got the movie channel in town, we started taping movies. Nightbreed, Clive Barker, Space Invaders, Silence of the Lambs, Tales from the Dark Side, Ray Bradbury, Ghost Rider, The Hidden, and then that's it. Obviously had big plans for that 97, but never happened. And that's it. We have reached the end, and I don't have a pen or a marker here. So, oh wait, I can pause the recording and go get one. Watch this. Boop. Alright, so, surprise, there was carpet here all along. Like, subscribe, still a good idea. And, keep looking at stuff with me. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.